It's your day off. No meetings, no deadlines, no alarms, and yet you can't move. You're not resting. You're stuck. You scroll, you stare, you bed rot, and the guilt gets louder every hour. If this is you, listen carefully. You're not lazy. In the next few minutes, I'll show you what's happening in your nervous system, why bed rotting is often a functional freeze response, and how to get unstuck without relying on motivation. Functional freeze is not, I want to relax. It's, I can't start. Your body feels heavy. Your brain feels foggy. Even simple tasks feel strangely impossible. You don't feel peaceful. You feel paused. And because you're not doing anything, your mind starts punishing you. You bargain with yourself. I'll get up in 5 minutes. I'll start after one more scroll. But the day doesn't start. And then it's not just fatigue, it's shame. And shame makes the freeze deeper. Here's what's really happening. Your nervous system has gears. During the week, you might live in high gear. Caffeine, deadlines, noise, people, constant decisions, constant performance. You push through because you have to. Your body adapts by staying slightly activated, not full panic, just a steady, low-level stress current. You get used to functioning with a tight jaw and a tense chest. You get used to the promise, I'll rest later. Then the weekend arrives, the pressure drops, and your system doesn't float gently into joy. It drops into the opposite gear, like a phone that overheated all week and suddenly switches into power-saving mode. Not because the phone is broken, but because it's protecting itself. That's functional freeze. It's your system saying, no more input, no more effort, no more decisions. This is why it often hits on rest days. When you finally stop running, your body finally catches up. All the feelings you outpaced during the week show up at once. Sometimes anxiety shows up when nothing is technically wrong. And you think, why do I feel worse on the one day I'm supposed to feel better? But your day off isn't the problem. Your body is finally telling the truth. Now let's talk about the phone, because it's not random that bed rotting and doom scrolling show up together. When your system is depleted, your brain doesn't want effort. It wants relief. And scrolling is the cheapest relief available. No planning, no risk, no decisions, no chance of failing. Just tiny hits of stimulation while your body stays still. It feels like rest, but it's not restoration. It's sedation. And sedation has a cost. Scrolling doesn't refill you. It just numbs you. So your body stays exhausted, your brain stays foggy, and your nervous system stays offline. Then you look up and it's 4 p.m. The guilt hits. I wasted my day. I'm falling behind. But guilt is not motivating in this state. Guilt is a threat signal. It tells your nervous system, you're failing. And your nervous system responds to threat the same way it always does. It freezes harder. That's the loop. Stress all week, crash on the weekend, scroll to numb, guilt spikes, freeze deepens. Then Sunday night arrives and you feel like you had no break at all, just a blur. Here's something that can immediately reduce your shame. Not all bed rotting is the same. There are 2 versions, and they feel different in your body. The first is restorative. You are genuinely depleted, you sleep, you do nothing, and after a while you feel a little more human. Softer, slower, more regulated. That's recovery. The second is avoidant. You're not just tired, you're overwhelmed by life. There's a task you fear, a decision you keep postponing, a conversation you don't want to have, a feeling you don't want to touch. So your brain uses scrolling as a shield. You're not resting, you're escaping, and afterward you don't feel restored. You feel foggier and more self-hating. That's freeze. So here's a quick self-check. After a few hours of rest, do you feel more regulated or more numb and guilty? The answer tells you what kind of bed rotting you're in. Recovery needs permission. Freeze needs a reboot. Now the big question. How do you get unstuck without forcing yourself and without shame? You don't fight freeze with willpower. You treat it like a system state and shift it gently. Step 1. Name it. Stop calling it laziness. Call it functional freeze. Call it power-saving mode. Say, my system is overloaded. Naming is not a slogan, it's a state label. It reduces shame, and shame is fuel for freezing. Step 2. Give your body one signal of safety. Not motivation, safety. Pick one small physical cue. Cold water on your face. Open a window. Sit up and put both feet on the floor for 10 seconds. One long exhale. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. You're not trying to feel amazing. You're telling your nervous system, nothing is chasing us. Step 3. Use a 2-minute micro start. Freeze hates big tasks because big tasks feel like cliffs. So don't say, I need to fix my whole life. Say, I will stand up. I will walk to the sink. I will rinse 1 cup. 2 minutes, then you're allowed to stop. The goal is ignition, not productivity. Once motion exists, your system often follows. Step 4. Replace doom scrolling with low stimulation restoration. If you need to lie down, but remove the content fire hose. Try 5 minutes of lying down with no phone. Try a shower. Try a slow walk with no podcast. Try stretching while staring at a wall. Try tea on the balcony. This is switching from sedation to regulation. Sedation numbs you. Regulation restores you. And here's one honest sentence. Sometimes bedrotting isn't a habit. It's a signal. If you need an entire day off just to feel normal, your life might be asking for a redesign. Less obligation, more recovery built into the week, more boundaries, more realistic output. If your nervous system has to shut down to get rest, it means rest is not available in your current pace. So what do you do today, right now? Not a full reset, not a perfect routine, just one reboot. Sit up, feet on the floor, drink water, open a window, wash your face. 2 minutes. Then choose the kind of rest you actually need, recovery or escape. Both are human, but only one makes you feel alive again. One final tool. If you're going to bed rot, do it on purpose. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Put the phone face down. Tell your body, we are resting now. When the timer ends, you choose again. Not from guilt, from awareness. Intentional rest restores. Unconscious scrolling sedates. Before you go, I want to make this interactive. When you bed rot, what is it really? Comment one word. Exhausted, overwhelmed, numb, anxious, guilty. Or if you don't want to explain, just comment, freeze. Because if this happens to you, you're not alone. You're not lazy. Your nervous system is trying to protect you. And you can learn how to come back online gently.